Okay, and then we did also receive some communication regarding the prevailing wage, basically a very basic, what does this prevailing wage measure mean and why is it being considered now?
You want me to
Sure.
take that one, Matt, or you want to go for it?
Well, I'll give it a shot, and then
Yeah.
certainly I know you would add, of course, but we have it is initially when I learned of the term, I was like prevailing, is that greater than other wage? But what this is for a region, it is finding what the baseline wage should be to pay in the contracts that the county has with organizations. And construction is really where we're starting. This is also something that Virginia law hadn't allowed for a number of the past decades. And we recently received greater authority. And so Arlington is moving forward and starting with construction contracts, but being ready in the future to go to additional county contracts and saying, for those contracts, we should pay people a baseline, a floor that is an adequate wage. And that's what this first step is to focus on construction contracts. And this is a way of making sure that we don't have what's called wage theft or other steps that undermine the ability of people to make a living a wage that will work for them so that they can put a roof over their head, have food, healthcare, and the basic necessities. These contracts that the county will have going forward will have that bottom baseline or wage that is acceptable. And that's the process that we started. But I know, Christian, you've also worked on this in different contexts, and I'm sure you'll have additional thoughts.
Oh, yeah. It's in Virginia, a state not very friendly to labor, also not very friendly to just overall job quality. And so in our state, we as a county government, when we put things out to bid, when we seek contractors, vendors to do any a variety of government services, we actually have to make awards based on the lowest and most responsive bids, which means we can't factor in other things that we may like or not like about a particular vendor's operations, which can mean that you can engage in business of awarding public funds to people who are going to drive down wages, commit violations like wage theft, misclassification, and you really don't have any window into whether or not that's happening. So you, in effect, as the government, could be a contributor to downward job quality, which is just fundamentally, I think, contrary to the values that we have on the board. So, prevailing wages just say, hey, let's take an annual survey of wages that people who are doing these jobs get. And you as a county can require that those who bid on your contracts pay that prevailing wage to do, in this case, construction. And what we're trying to figure out is what's the threshold level to implement this prevailing wage requirement, because it certainly will require a new form of administration and enforcement and compliance. So we still have some things to work out, but I think the principle, as the chair said, absolutely where we need to be.